I used to love cinema. I still do, I suppose, but it's not the same thing. It's almost like, you're very passionate about this woman, then you find out, she had, a past secret life, a very promiscuous, past secret life. It kind of, you still like her, but you can't, look at her face again. It's almost like that with cinema. So whenever I could, I would go to the cinema. There was these films, that was worth going to the cinema because it's the best experience, the cinema. I don't remember the last film I went to see. I think it was Prometheus. Yeah, I think it was Prometheus, the last film. It was amazing, because I am amazed. I really love the first film, Alien. The other that came after, to me, it doesn't mean anything. It's just the repetition of the same idea in different, scenarios. But the first one, the essence, of the first one is brilliant. And I think Prometheus did it a good favor as a complement to the first one. And of course, I think lots of the, lots of the fans didn't like it. They were expecting xenomorphs to go rampant and machine guns and explosions, and they got a more theological, um, theological, philosophy and theology, more type orientated, and people didn't like it. But I loved it. It was brilliant. Anyway, I used to collect DVDs, Blu-ray. I haven't watched the Blu-ray in 10 years. I don't even know if my Blu-ray, reader is working. Although I have like two devices that can read the Blu-ray, but I think they work. I think they work. Um, but I haven't sit and and watched a film. I have like hundreds, over 100, DVDs. I collected the best, cinematographic experiences, and I used to, hunt for those gems because some films are so rare, and sometimes it was difficult to find the digital copy. Anyway, it's not just, American cinema. I would have Spanish, Italian, um, I would even have you know Japanese, and other area. There was this film that I really wanted to have from Korea, but now I like the motivation to look, to search for it. By the way, they don't sell DVDs anymore. Uh, I mean, it used to be, you know, go out. I'm going to do some shopping, groceries and stuff, and I would stop at the DVD to just to look, you know, and they completely, remove that area from the. So you just go for the groceries and go home, and I don't know. I kind of miss the section, which you could buy, films in the supermarket. And then they would do, special promotions. Here's a 10 films, and it costs this much money. And often you would buy it just because there's one in there that interests you. I don't know. This idea of renting things is really not a good idea. I don't like it. Renting, or having a subscription, or whatever online, and it's never yours. You just watch it and it's never yours. And if there's a problem with the servers, or You know, you can't see it, and you can even lose. The things that you buy digitally, you can lose them. I lost stuff. The company bankrupted, and it's gone from the platform. And especially in the video games, there's people who has invested, thousands in video games, games from 30 years ago, stuff that you grow up with, and they make a digital, thing out of the, and people buy it, of course, just for, remembering. What is it? The word? What is the word? I can't remember right now. When you are remembering, those past feelings that you had playing the game. I can't remember right now. And tomorrow they decide to, oh, it's taking too much place, or not enough people are buying it. Again, they have this capitalist, corporatist slash corporatist idea. If it's not profitable, we just remove it. And there's, people who lost, their video games from years ago, childhood memories, and they just remove them. I've heard they were, going into court and trying to find a solution for these situations. I don't know if they've decided anything. I remember losing something like that. It was a video game. It was quite a recent game. It was made like 10 years ago as well. And the company, went bankrupt, and the game disappeared. Every game from that company disappeared. All games. Digital copies is if you had the physical copy, it's yours. You can play it until the disc doesn't work anymore. But digital, it's gone. So I don't really like this idea of renting stuff. And returning to the films, I don't know what they're doing with it. They're experimenting with AI. It doesn't make a lot of sense. They're asking AI to write the scripts. It doesn't make any sense. It lacks a soul. The film lacks a soul. There's no, you know, co- there's no connection between anything. You can, and people are saying, "Oh, these look, are these, are these blockbusters, like this latest dinosaur film? Um, are these blockbusters, written by AI?" It seems to be, because they are trying to pass it as being normal, or normalizing it. I think they are trying to normalize it. We don't really know what's behind the scenes. But in the corporate world, I think they are. I mean, they are firing everybody that has talent, and they're just asking these AI bots to write things. It's really dehumanizing. you know uh, I don't know. Dehumanization. I mean, look at the buildings, look at the architecture. There's a dehumanization as well. Buildings, used to be more inviting, more welcoming. Now buildings just push, punch down your soul. They repress you. You know, I was listening to this sketch, Alternativo, I think it's called. Really funny, and this he looked Mexican. He was doing a sketch on how the architect, he was playing this eccentric architect. How do I build things that make you feel sick? And he builds everything, counterintuitive and repressive, and I want you to go into a building and feel your soul being crushed. And I was laughing, because that's exactly what's going on nowadays with modern architecture. It is it is like, you know those dark films, like what's his name? Mm, oh, I can't remember right now. Like V for Vendetta, for instance. V for Vendetta, in which you have this oppressive totalitarian regime crushing people's souls. And there's this another one I can't remember right now. I haven't watched Dark City. Some people say it's very also very good film. And there's this other one I can't remember right now, in which the characters, I mean the people in that film, they had to take daily doses of this chemical in order to suppress their emotions. So everybody was walking about like a robot, and no emotions whatsoever, no humanity. And it's almost like it feels like nowadays they want everybody to act like that. From the moment they are born, they are separated from their parents, so they don't bond, and they grow up just to be robots, to be consumers and faithful to the system. And I was listening to this woman talk about daycare for children. She said, we get children from 2 weeks, from 2 weeks to 4 years or something like that. After 4 years, I suppose they go to regular school. And she said, I do not advise this. I work in this, I take care of hundreds of kids, and I do not recommend this. This is soul crushing for children. I was listening to what another, it was a she was one of those psychologists for children. She worked in the private sector, of course, and she wrote books about the things that she experiences and how she tries to help. And she said it is essential for the child in the first year to sleep with the parents, to have the skin and skin contact. Yeah, all the time the child in the first year has to be skin and skin contact. From the moment they are born, do not get separated from mom, because nurses take them away, to do their little scheme of taking blood and taking prints and processing a piece of meat, basically, to become another, bot in the system. From the moment they are born, the baby should crawl immediately to the mother's chest and never to separate them again. And the first 2, 3 days, they must not shower, because there's this chemical bond that's going to be created between the baby and the mother. And they have to stay skin to skin for the first 12 months. Yeah. So they don't get traumatized. If you separate them, they will feel abandoned, and they will have feelings of abandonment for the rest of their lives. And when they will be in the presence of pathological behavior, they won't fight back. That's she was saying, uh, something pathological is happening around me, and I'm powerless to do anything about it, because you know indirectly or unconsciously they were abandoned, and they feel helpless. And the and also something very interesting that she said, a child that was not protected and it was abandoned, after 2 weeks, so the parents can go work for the system, they will carry this mark, this invisible mark. And predators like psychopaths and narcissists will sense that, like a shark senses blood in the water. At a distance, they will sense these people that have been quote unquote abandoned, and they will target them. These are the types who will end up, in the rings, in these sex work rings, and etc. Or they will end up doing drugs, or they will end up doing army or jail, because they have this abandonment syndrome. It's almost like, but you don't know. You think it's normal, that you've always been like that, but others will see it, especially the predators, you know. So anyway, I was talking about cinema and yeah, architecture, cinema, everything seems to be let's rent, let's rent. They don't want you to have things. Cars are now, full of chips and electronics, and they are selling you, upgrades, and soon, I mean, it will be more profitable to not own a car or not or a car, and just rent it whenever you want it. And I think they are trying to do the same thing with property. And if this continues, nothing will be yours. You have to rent everything, and there's going to be a few, like 10%, that will own everything and just rent everything to everybody else. We're back at the, feudal, system in which everybody just didn't own anything. And they have these speeches when they talk. They talk about the we own the land, we own everything. No, no, no. Private property means, I own this, and it's not we, it's I. No, no, no. This is my. They have this way of talking. This they use the dialect to express these social, should I say, social ideas, ideas of suppressing individuality. It's really awful. Anyway, this is the idea, in my opinion, of the globalists. It's the plan they have. Everything is run by technocracy. It's being speed up in these past 20 years. It's been, they tried it with religion. Christianity and others are a perfect example of globalism. And they've been, speeding the process using the Industrial Revolution. They come up with, all these economic theories. And I think now it's going, 100 times faster with the digital, stuff, and they are speeding up the process. I think, what they want, what they are salivating, is what the ping pong country already has: absolute control over people, cameras all over the place. And if you sneeze, you will receive a message in your smartphone: hey, you sneezed, I'm going to deduce these money because it's against the law from your bank account. And if you continue, you won't be able to have a driver's license, or, you know, it's crazy. It's oppressive. It's insane. Anyway, these are just some thoughts, okay? I'm not trying to convince you or change your mind. Sometimes I talk about religion and beliefs and stuff, and it's okay, I suppose, to, exchange ideas. But ultimately, I I tend to, gravitate towards this idea that no matter what you give to them, they will always take it to the extreme. If you give them religion, they will take it to the extreme. If you give them paganism, they will take it to the extreme. Because I think most people suffer from obsessive compulsive behavior. This is a process, that gives birth to beautiful things. You wouldn't have cars if people didn't suffer from obsessive compulsive behavior. You wouldn't have technology, but it also gives birth to bad things. Yeah. And they obsess over religion, for instance, and take it to the extreme, or other concepts. Yeah. There's no balance, in most people, there's no balance. They talk about emotional intelligence. This is a term that's been spoken of in these past 10 years in the, in the internet. Oh, emotional intelligence, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, do you even know what it is, emotional intelligence? Oh, because you feel a lot, you're emotionally intelligent. No, because you empathize, that's emotion. No, that's not either. It's when you have absolute control over emotions, and you will use emotions at the correct place. Emotions, it's when you are in the comfort of your home, around your family, around your loved ones, around your friends. That's when emotions, should be, you know, um, enabled. But when you are in a other kind of environment, like, arguing facts, logic, and wisdom, or talking about law, or talking about politics, or talking about the working place, talking about everything else, emotions are disabled, and everything should be run by through facts, logic, and wisdom. You know, have control over your impulses. You have control over your emotions. Do not give in to anger. And a lot of people just explode when they lack an argument, when their logic doesn't make any sense, and they go emotion, and they start, attacking people personally, and distorting reality, or lying, in order to, because they just simply can't admit they were wrong. You know, yeah, admitting you're wrong is a very, emotionally, evolved person. Admitting in defeat. Do not be controlled by anger. Anyway, they are actually giving the opposite definition of emotional intelligence. They think chaotic emotions is emotional intelligence. It's not. Are you crazy? Again, they distort the reality, and they distort the meaning of definitions, to fit the idea, to fit their distorted worldview. When they say, this is my truth and that's your truth. No, 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 no. Stop there. There's only one truth, and it does not expire, you know. It's not my truth or your truth. No, no, no. We don't play that game. That's not emotionally intelligent to say stupid things like that. Anyway, I've been talking almost for 24 minutes. I think the last film I saw that I really, really liked, it was The Norseman. Yeah, I think it was that one. Anyway, that was a long time ago. Cinema sucks nowadays. It's really awful. Anyway, tyranny loves to attack what's beautiful, you know? Tyranny wants to distort the essence of what's beautiful. They don't like it. So,